All right.
Da, 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 da.
I mean, if you'd seen the movie that was from, you would know what.
I think we've established on this show I don't watch movies.
He's looking at you, kid. You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
I'll have what she's having.
Boss will be with you, always.
I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
A one, a two, you know what to do. Cue music.
Hey, everybody, this is Gone with the Wind. I'm your host, Manning. Franks, the host of the podcast Gone with the Wind, the show about award shows where we talk about, you guessed it, award shows. And I have a fantastic opening from our lovely panelists today. Malcolm. Welcome, Malcolm. Welcome back.
Hello.
The classic hello from Malcolm. You gotta love it. I love it. I missed it. Missed you, man. And then, hey, welcome back, sir.
What up? Hi, how are you doing? I'm the good.
Classic open from Abe. Love you, Abe. All right, we have a special guest today in Matt Kearns. Welcome, Matt, to the Gone with the Wind show. Welcome back once again to like your third time now, right?
I think
Fourth?
Let me see. I was on
Daniel Craig Bond one.
Craig, and that was it. You somehow did not invite me back to celebrate the legacy of Sean Connery. Somehow.
Were you on the Star Wars one as well? So,
oh my God, that's right. A Rise of Skywalker review last year. Okay, so that's 4.
So
I think because that was more a Rise of Skywalker review and not a Gone with the Wind. I think that's why I didn't really. But yeah.
Oh. Hey, but you know what? Hey, since we haven't got a chance to do it because we've been so busy, we're going to quickly talk about it because I know we've all watched it, right? The Mandolorian, guys, it's over.
Hey, remember when we were supposed to do a
Listen, time is a construct that hasn't occurred. Time is merely a construct now. We have never got a chance to do it. I have been busy. You've been busy.
I came across that chat the other day, and I was like, I love the last thing is I figured it's Manning just being like, all right, so I guess we'll review episode 2 next week. And never got around to that.
I mean, what I was going to do something on late night. Yeah,
never did. Okay, well, you know what, guys, we're here now. Wait, Abe, have you watched the second season of The Mandalorian?
I watched the first episode and the last 15 minutes of the last of the second season.
Abe pulled a high school English student to where he read the first chapter and the last chapter, and he kind of just filled in the blanks. I did that with Huck Finn when I was in high school.
You know what I watch on Disney Plus? I don't watch shit. I only watch The Simpsons.
But anyway, all right, so welcome, guys, again. This is episode Gone with the Wind. This is going to be the last show before, of course, the new year. Wait. Christmas, I guess. Maybe New Year. I can't say New Year. Possibly, we'll see. But it's the last one before the Christmas season comes to a close. And then we're going to get into, hopefully, the new year, the 2021. We're going to look 2020 behind us. We'll never have to look at it again. Goodbye. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye. Farewell. So thankfully, we will have to finally never have to see those two numbers together ever again, except when we're getting our eyes checked. And hopefully we'll have 2020 vision then and never again concerning years. But regardless, thank you guys again for joining on this episode. We're going to quickly kind of talk about what movies we've seen so far. So, Matt, as our guest, would you like to go and say, you know what? I'm making the executive decision as the host. What did you think of The Mandalorian Season 2? We're going to take a quick few minutes and we're going to talk about it right here to make sure that has been fulfilled.
Okay, and then we'll talk about movies we've seen.
Yes.
Okay.
I have the power.
So we're talking about the whole thing or just finale?
Season 2. Just season 2.
Yeah. Season 2 I thought was some of the best Star Wars I've seen out of Disney. I think it, like season 1, I think it proved that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, you know, I don't want to say right the ship, because I feel like for me they righted the ship, because I know there are a lot of people who love the sequel trilogy. I was really only a fan of Rise of Skywalker. This was Star Wars that I loved, and considering I wasn't a huge fan of the first 2 episodes of Mandalorian season 1, and I ended up watching most of season 1 binging, this was my first experience with having to wait week to week And so for streaming, this is the first time I've ever had that, and I really enjoyed it. Because I enjoyed like trying to think, oh, who's the Jedi? Who's this? Yeah, I thought Boba Fett, Ahsoka, all those characters integrated extremely well. I thought the action scenes were great, but I think at its core, it just had a really great Star Wars story, and it continued that story of Din and Grogu.
Spoiler
and
alert.
of course, we get to the. Are we able to talk about spoilers? Or?
No, please, yeah, it's over.
Okay.
If y'all haven't seen it.
We get to that finale, and I was
Wait. Well, just in case, spoilers, guys. We're talking about that now. All right, now you go.
Yeah. I was of two minds when there's the episode when they go to the like temple thing, which, by the way, Tamara Morris just killed it as Boba Fett in that whole thing. But I was of two minds. I thought it might be Luke, but I also thought it might be another Jedi. I was like, maybe they don't want to do that. I was actually thinking, I got convinced it was going to be Cal Kestis from Fallen Order, and I thought that'd be a cool sort of thing, but that X-Wing comes in and it's Luke Skywalker just wrecks shop, and I thought that was going to be the highlight of the episode for me, but then to follow it up with that ending between Din and Grogu, and him taking the music, and it was so perfect. And I said this on Twitter, and I'll reiterate here. Watching that finale, I feel what I think fans in 1980 felt walking out of Empire, which is excited, like kind of sad, but also just I can't wait to see where this story goes from here. So those are my thoughts on season 2. It's incredible.
Malcolm, your thoughts?
Like overall, like I thought season 2 was fine. Like, as well as I got used to the format of them, of each episode sort of being like a side quest, sort of thing, in video games. So, and when I saw they were kind of doing that same kind of format, like, I'm used to what they did. But yeah, I mean, it made me care about Boba Fett.
Yes.
I never really cared much about the character Boba Fett. But Tim Morrison just killed it. I was actually one that was disappointed with the fact they used Luke in the finale. Partly because I really hated the de-aging, and he looked just as bad. I mean, like, he looked just as bad, if not worse, than Leia and Tarkin in Rogue One. But also it's like it's one of those ones like I was kind of hoping it wasn't going to be. It was going to be a different Jedi sort of doing scouting on behalf of Luke. Just because it just seemed too convenient just for it to be Luke to be the one to follow up, but it was fine. I mean, I really loved the whole end post-credit scene with Boba Fett.
Can I just real quick, my thoughts on the de-aging face? I think I've come to realize that I just don't really pay attention to effects. Because, like, I watch Justice League, and I don't really see the stash taking away. I watch Tarkin and Leia, and I'm fine with it.
Interesting.
It wasn't the greatest thing in the world. I think definitely what they did in Rise of Skywalker in that flashback sequence for Luke looked better. But I was talking with my friend Paul about this. I think it was a smart choice to do that, because if they say, let's just say, they had Sebastian Stan as Luke, which who doesn't want him to play Luke?
He was blowing up Twitter the day of.
If they had another actor, when he pulls the cloak off, you would have had to have this awkward moment of like saying he's Luke Skywalker. Like, with that face, you didn't have to have that, and you got to just have the moment. Because without, I mean, yeah, sure, you could have had Din being like, "Who are you?" "Oh, I'm Luke Skywalker." But it just, to me,
I'm here to rescue you.
It just flowed better, and also, I mean, Mark Hamill got to, I mean, he wasn't the body, but it was the voice and was his face. I
Also, as my brother pointed out the other day, how awkward would that scene be if Boba Fett was in that room as well?
everybody's talking about
Robert?
that. And
So quickly, my thoughts on it. I've had a love, well, hate is the wrong word. I've had a love-meh relationship with the Mandalorian. The format is one I've never been the biggest fan of. I understand they're going back to classic Buck Rogers serials back in the day, and I understood that. You listen to like an old, like I know back in the day when we used to drive to, across states with my dad, he had on his app like, you know, The Shadow or Suspense, some old classic serials that he would play, and it was a contained story every time. This one worked, but it made me it didn't flow the best in my opinion when it came to telling the story. The best moments of this is when we got to explore the relationship most between Din and Grogu, as we know him now. No longer Baby Yoda or officially the child. He has Grogu, which is a very befitting name, I might add. I think that this series knew exactly what it was, and it succeeded that beautifully. And while I may not have been on board completely with the style that which they did it, the execution was spot on. And that first opening, I remember of season 2, where that one where they have oh no, what's the guy's name who had the armor but not Boba Fett? Oh my goodness, I'm thinking
his name.
the guy from Aftermath.
Cobb
The
Vanth.
Aftermath. Cobb Vanth, thank you.
Yeah.
From the Aftermath books.
Yeah.
Having that come in and little sprinkle stuff like that thrown throughout that was a nice little treat for Star Wars fans. Until ultimately we had some great episodes like, you know, the return. I can't remember the name titles of each episode, but like seeing the return of Boba Fett in action, which again, he was always a great costume. And as someone who never really read the EU, formerly the EU, now Legends. But basically, I'm looking forward to like seeing. Also, Ahsoka was really cool. Seeing her actually in action was very cool. I think it really shined when we got to really get to the deepness of the characters. I wish we had more moments to let the characters breathe and less. This is going to be really weird. I wish we had a little less action. But this is weird. In Star Wars, let's put less action and more characters. But that's just me. I wish though that we got to experience more of Din just in his relationship with Grogu, which we got through anecdotal moments in these episodes, but I would have preferred less planet hopping and less side quests and more one arching main quest. But I say with what they did, I really did enjoy it. And it was like a Saturday morning serial every time, but it was Friday morning this time. So I really do enjoy it. I'm looking forward to what Boba Fett can do because I was all on board. Every time Boba Fett came back on, they had the seismic charges. I got giddy. I got excited. I got like a little nerdish schoolboy and I was very happy.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I really marked out for was when they had Boba Fett say Django's line from Attack of the
I'm
Clones.
just a simple man trying to make my way in the universe like my father. I have to say, though, talking about that scene with Bo, I thought that was so cool when he's referring to his father and she's like, "Oh, you mean your donor?" And it's like, I've heard your voice thousands of times. If you keep this up, it's the last voice you're gonna. That scene, and then he starts fighting with I don't know the name of her like right hand person, but that scene was so awesome. I loved it so much.
What was her
it was
name?
sweet.
I know
Is
it was
it
the one
Sasha
that was.
Banks?
Yeah,
it's Sasha Banks. I don't know the character's name. But that scene was so cool when they start fighting in that little canteen area. That was awesome. And then of course the fight between Moff Gideon and Din was just
well choreographed, incredibly well choreographed.
Well choreographed. It was just so man, it reminded me of the pre-Vizsla Maul fight from Clone Wars. Like just really just like it's not so much who wins, it's who slips up first, and obviously Gideon slipped up first. Which, by the way, I hate Gideon even more than I did in like the final episode. Especially when you get to the Darksaber, he's such a like. He's like, "Oh, baby, she can't take." I'm like, "Oh, just shut up, shut up."
Horrible man for doing that.
Yeah, what's wrong with him? That's just mean.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing that I'll I will say, because The Mandalorian won't be nominated for Oscars, is I really want a series of showing Grogu's training, just to find out what happens to him by the time we get the sequel trilogy.
Look,
Because
it's gonna be a book or some comic at some point.
All right, so that is our discussion for The Mandalorian Season 2. Now, of course, this is not a Star Wars podcast. This is, in fact, a Oscars and award shows and kind of general movies podcast. And The Mandalorian is definitely not a
Movie.
not a
It's
movie.
TV show.
However, we wanted to get that out there because we talked about it for so long. And you know what? We're already here, and let's just do it. So why not? So, quickly, what movies have y'all seen before we get into the New York Film Critics Circle Awards, as well as the Los Angeles Film Critics have announced their winners this past week for their little critics. Well, not little, they're large critics association, but that's neither here nor there. So tell me, we're going to start with you since you did not have too much to add for the Mandalorian discussion. Tell us, what movies have you seen during this time in the month of December that you would like to highlight or talk about?
Okay, give me a second, because I haven't watched that much. I watched The Croods too, A New Era. I haven't watched it, but it was cool. I watched Happy Season, the Kristen Stewart and Mackenzie Davis movie, and it was fine. No, honestly, like I watched Wonder Woman yesterday.
How did you? Okay, tell us how.
Oh, you don't follow Abe on Twitter, I guess. I'm
about to say I haven't checked. I've checked. I've been on my. I haven't followed my personal email in a little bit. I'm using my work email, so please tell us.
I don't think it's as great as a movie. No, like it's good. It's pretty damn good. I don't think it's great, and that's the thing. I think that my experience overall was great because I was attached to the movie the whole time. Like it made me feel things, and I think that's the point of cinema. Like I've said it again and again here. Like if a movie makes you feel something, like angry, happy, sad, whatever, it made it. They accomplished their.
Agreed.
Well, I think they accomplished their purpose. And watching Wonder Woman was like, I just felt normal for the first time. You know, I've been to the theater 10 times since October, and every time I went to the movies, it just felt weird, like not seeing someone else's face. And there was a time that I just forgot like anything was going on. Like I just thought I was like back in, I don't know, February, March, and everything was normal. I was enjoying a movie. I was happy watching it. And you know, and I put this in my Letterboxd review. I wrote a paragraph. Like I haven't given a movie a 5-star rating like since 2016.
Dang.
That's since I first watched The Bridge on the River Kwai.
That's
and I give Wonder Woman 5. Yeah, and it's not like I'll say it like you see it, maybe you don't.
No, I
think,
understand what you're saying, Abe. It's like there's. I'm
because
kind of
I was just
too.
happy. Like I was happy the whole time. I was smiling. Oh my God, Patty Jenkins. Like she stepped up. Like I think like she understand what she did in the first one. Like just step it up, or maybe they just gave her more freedom to do whatever she wanted. Also, the Hans Zimmer score. Are you guys hearing me correct?
I can hear you, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Hans Zimmer score, like, I think this must be his best score since. Wait, Dunkirk's score was pretty damn good. I just love this movie. And I love the experience. And I love, like, it just makes me happy. Like, I'm going to go watch it. What time is it? Probably going to go watch it tomorrow because it's late right now.
It presented you with an experience, and that's something that I think is very, very important because, you know, the movies are about encapsulating an experience of the moment and the time and period. And if while you can appreciate a movie aesthetically and be like, this was a very well-made movie, if it doesn't stir any emotion, it failed as a movie to me personally. Did it make you think? Did it make you feel? Did it make you do both of them at the same time? If the answer is neither, I don't think it succeeded as a film. However, if you saying that this movie, Wonder Woman 1984, did in fact do that, then it succeeded as a film while it may not have succeeded on all technical merits, including screenwriting, acting, what have you. I still say that's the same thing that Wonder Woman did. The first one. I think it managed it's not perfect. I think it was a perfect movie going experience. Go ahead, Abe.
Yeah, it's like I watched the 1978 Superman like 2 years ago for the first time. It's exactly that same feeling that you feel when you watch the movie. Like you just feel happy, like joy, like hopefulness, whatever. It's just that, and that's the movie.
All
And
right,
there's
Gabe,
oh my god,
you selling
you
me
guys
on
should
going to
watch
see
it.
that movie.
Yeah,
More
you
so,
guys
more
should
so
watch
than
it
all the
because like
critics going like it's the best DC movie since The Dark Knight. I literally went on Twitter. I'm like, that is a pointless review for me to hear. That
yeah,
means
it's like
nothing.
I honestly like maybe if I rewatch it and put a critical eye on it, like of the knowledge I haven't seen of what should be like, I'll find flaws, of course, but like I was never thinking that. I was just staring at the screen happy, and I think that's the point of every film, or you know, that I felt,
Aw.
and that's my review. So
I
you want
hope
to rate
when
him 5
Manning
stars?
edits this, he
Perfect,
puts some like
perfect.
really like beautiful royalty free like inspirational music under that whole thing of Abe.
Dun, 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 dun. I will find something to route for us to rouse to. I'll just put the Dunkirk theme. Dun, 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 dun. But no, thank you for doing that. And I don't. The thing is, no movies are open where I am right now. So like no movie theaters are open in the vicinity. I have to go drive a little bit if I want to go find something.
Yeah.
But I'm not expecting to see any movie until probably next year. But that's okay. It's been a whole movie since the month of February. It's been a whole year since the month of February since I've seen a movie in theaters, and it hurts me physically.
Yeah, it's been
I've not done that.
March for me, but no, October because I went to see Goldfinger when it got re-released in my theater. But that was the last because I went there and I was like, I don't want to say anything about my theater. I believe they took things safe. It was more just me sitting in that theater, wore my mask. Everyone was wearing the mask, social distance. There were like 3 other people in that theater with me, but there was some me. I just went. I don't think this time for me to be going back to the movies every week, which sucks because they're releasing a lot of movies I love.
You were like about that, like I actually felt safer like going to a movie theater than I felt that when going grocery shopping or something like that.
I'll agree with that. I think it's just for me, it's more just the because when I do go like out for groceries and stuff like that, or something, I'm usually like in and out. Whereas like
Yes, agreed.
I was there in that seat. The only time I got up was when I had to use the facilities, and so that was more my thing. Was just the like I'm just sitting in here with 3 people
who we don't know where they are.
and where I don't know, that's just me. I'm not saying anything in the theater. That's just my own simple.
And I agree.
But
That
I
is the
went there
reason
for
also.
Sean. I went for Sean.
R.I.P. Sean. And I do think that is a very, for me personally, that's why I also, if it did open, I wouldn't go until at least their numbers, especially right now, we're going down because for those people obviously who weren't paying attention, the numbers are very, very high right now, and high ICU beds are crowding up ridiculously at this point. And
stay home, wear a mask.
Stay home.
Guys, like, look, we all 4 of us on here, we love movies, we adore them, but like, just like, if you can avoid being out around people, just do it. Like, trust me, just stay home.
Yeah, especially during these next 2 weeks, it is highly, highly, highly encouraged for you guys to stay home. For family, if your family does not live in your house or is not super close to you, like my grandparents, they don't live in the same house, but we help take care of them. Do not have strangers or extended family over, and I'm encouraging that because I'm having that conversation with my family right now. Do not do that, and I want to make that a statement for Gone with the Wind. Do not. For this Christmas and New Year's, do not, please. It is 1 year for all the sake of others.
I'm going to reiterate, I don't know who said it, where I heard it from, but I'm going to reiterate this. We might be done with COVID, but COVID is not done with us. Like,
Facts.
It's not. Like, we're all finished and we're all tired. I was supposed to go back to the office January 4th, just got the email. It's being pushed back to March 1st. Like, I like working from home, but I also hate working from home because my job sucks now. My job sucks now working from home. It's so different, and I don't get to see anyone. I'm just stuck in a room by myself for several hours, which, I mean, I do that when I'm home, but that's a life choice at that point. I'm just saying, wear a mask and stay home, or else Vinny and Raul will come and find you when it's safe and COVID's free.
Because they even respect the social distancing.
Yeah, Vinny's just in the closet right now with Kermit. They haven't left.
Or conversely, just move to New Zealand.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, Mr. Free over here.
Are they gonna let us in, though?
Stay out of this.
Well, I mean, you can come and you have to quarantine for at least 2 weeks before you leave, just to be sure you're free and all that. But other than that,
Malcolm, I just have to ask: have they done like COVID PSAs with Lord of the Ring characters yet, or not? You know,
no.
like hobbits being like, when we're on the journey to Mordor, we social distance and we wear our masks. Yes, you're wearing first mask, but what about second mask?
You shall not pass this
You
border.
shall not pass for 2 weeks after your
Gandalf,
quarantine.
Gandalf is at the border, like saying, "Yes, have you been tested?
Have you been tested? A wizard's test is never early. It arrives precisely when it needs to.
Usually about a 2-day turnaround." Anyway, okay, but no, but okay, back on track. But from all that, guys, Malcolm, what have you seen, sir, in Great New Zealand, where they have apparently eradicated COVID? I'm jealous, sir. Please tell us, what have you seen?
Well, I mean, apart from the 2 movies we're going to be talking about today, anyway, Mank and Mulroney's Black Bottom. Like I've seen both of those. Just get my diary of movies I've seen.
Oh, good.
Diary? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Malcolm's got the OG letter.
Nice.
I mean, aside from the Christmas movies, that I've seen sort of this month, like yesterday I saw Jingle All the Way 2 for the first time because I never knew it existed before then.
Why?
It exists. I just like the original Jingle All the Way. I kind of wish it didn't exist.
Oh, you shut your mouth. Stop.
But anyway, like other movies I've seen is I saw the Netflix movie The From. I actually enjoyed it. I know it's getting a lot of hate, and not many people really do enjoy it. I saw the Zemeckis remake of The Witches, which I thought was really well done. And yeah, and that's like most of what I've seen lately.
Mm-hmm. Well, let us actually, before we forget, let's talk. We'll save since Ma Rainey's Black Bottom just came out. We'll give. I've only gotten halfway through, but I want to save that for next week. So let's go ahead. Like, actually, Matt, you have not watched Mank yet, correct?
No.
Well, then quickly, Matt, what have you seen that you would like to highlight, movie-wise?
Well, I've been watching, obviously, given the season, I've been watching a lot of Christmas movies. Given circumstances in my life, I've decided to start watching more alternate Christmas movies. So I watched on Friday, I watched Batman Returns, and then I watched Die Hard 2 again, because I watched that for second look this month. I watched Psych the movie, which is technically a Christmas movie. Takes place at Christmas time. I'm saving the greatest alternative Christmas movie, Lethal Weapon, for Christmas. Haven't watched It's a Wonderful Life yet. Was planning on it yesterday, but once again, things have happened, and my joy for Christmas is kind of going away. So I watched Cliffhanger today because it snows. So that's kind of Christmassy.
It does. It does snow in the movie.
It does. So it's kind of gets. I don't actually know when. I don't think they ever say the time of year that Cliffhanger is taking place.
It does take place on a mountain. So.
No, it could be a Christmas movie. No, snow. I could be saying.
Does the movie end on a cliffhanger? That's all I want to know.
God, I hate you. No, it's a perfect beginning, middle, and end. It's a perfect action movie, directed by Rennie Harlan. director.
Yes, Abe.
Too.
Is Shrek 2 a Christmas movie?
No, Shrek the Halls is a Christmas movie. That's the Shrek.
Okay, then I have no Christmas movie.
I love my favorite thing. If you guys follow Abe, anytime someone remotely tweets about Shrek 2 or the climax being perfect, Abe retweets them and goes, "This guy gets it." Like, you just look at his Twitter.
Or about Mamma Mia, here we go again.
Yeah.
I'm ready for those two movies.
Well, then, let's go take that test. After you guys listen to this, tweet at Abe about how great and amazing.
There's only one reason why
Shrek 2
you like
is.
Mamma Mia 2, man. And you know what? That's fine.
No, I honestly, I found myself watching the scenes like for a whole, like almost all night. Like I watched a good 5 scenes from the movie. I have
the first
problems,
Mamma Mia
sorry.
with my sister because James Bond's in it, so.
Oh,
It's
the first
okay.
Mamma Mia sucks.
But the second one is okay.
The second
second
one's
one
like
has
the
Lee James in it.
Godfather part 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Oh, okay,
This
so
is Abe's letterbox review.
we've got an exclusive, right, guy?
I don't
of
have
the-
a letterbox.
But anyway, all right. So what I have seen personally, I will, for time's sake, I will kind of keep it down. But from one of the stuff that I got to see was actually through the Lincoln Film Institute, Lincoln Film Center. They recently announced they were going to partner with some of the movies that have come out earlier this year, and they were going to release them. And I was able to get on that window for the very first day for Nomadland, and Nomadland I actually thoroughly enjoyed. I think it is truly a movie of what I called. It feels incredibly empty. The film feels like it's not actually a film, but a documentary. Frances McDormand gives some of her best work. I didn't really care for her. Sorry, everyone, for saying this. I did not care for her in 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I thought she was good, but she was not amazing and not deserving of the Oscar, in my opinion. However, what she does in Nomadland is something that is so subtle, but at the same time, something so heartfelt and like it hurts. And to see her like this, about a woman who's not wanting to give up, a woman who's not wanting to let go of the past, and how she has to traverse across the world because she is in fact a nomad. It does feel like a documentary because most of these actors, props to them, they feel like David Statham, some other people I don't really know. They literally are just people right now who are truly just living in this moment. They are not actors. They seem like people who've actually lived these lives. And I have to give huge chops, including Chloe Zhao, who directed this. She did a phenomenal job and should be credited to this. It's not a movie I'm going to go back and watch and be like, yes, this is one I love. But Nomadland is something I highly recommend people to go see because of the feelings that it evokes. And I think that's a feeling where it made me feel empty and sad on the inside. But from a film standpoint, just from the technical masterwork, it's nothing too crazy, but it is something to marvel at. So I'd recommend everyone go see Nomadland when it comes out. I believe in January. I could be wrong about that, but I believe it could be out wide in January. Because I know those tickets went out fast when after I tried to look up some other things. Because I know Mayari, Morai. Thank you. The one with Stephen Yeun. I can't wait to see that. That sold out very fast. So I'd recommend y'all go look at the Lincoln Film Center and see exactly. Keep an eye on that page because sometimes they will release films and you can go that have not been released to the general public yet. And I'd recommend you go patron them because you'll be able to get an exclusive screening. Abe, did you raise your hand?
Can I ask the question?
Yeah.
How much do you have to pay? Because I tried with Nomadland and there were still screens, and I couldn't get away to pay for it. I couldn't find it on the webpage. I don't think it was the Lincoln Center. Yeah, maybe I'm confused. Well, there was this only screening for Nomadland a couple of weeks ago, and I tried and I couldn't do it. And that's according to sites, that's the front runner. So I wanted to watch a couple of weeks ago.
It is officially the Film at Lincoln Center Virtual Cinema, as it is called. Actually, right now that I'm looking at it, do they have? Right now, there doesn't appear to be any special stuff that they have at this time, because most things I think have already transpired at this point. But I know they have a few short films if you all want to go give that a chance. Because I'm very just kind of impressed the fact they made that available.
Time Bandit?
No, like they just kind of have stuff right now. If you go to the they
I
have
hit
a lot
that
of
joke went over your head.
festivals. What was that?
You said they had a couple of short films, so I said like Willow and Time Bandits.
Oh, I thought I did not even hear that. Never mind. I totally went over my head. But I was thinking like they have a lot of like short films and actually like very like indie films from film festivals from up and coming artists. So I highly recommend you guys go check out the film at Lincoln Center because some of these are free as well too. And if you want to see some support some independent cinema at this time, specifically for the virtual cinema, I'd recommend go to see that. And I see some other things too, but just for time's sake, I'm going to talk quickly. We're not going to talk very slowly. We're going to take it very slow. We're going to talk quickly about Mank. So, Malcolm, I know you and I are the only people that have seen Mank, correct?
Yes, probably.
All right.
I watched an hour and 20 minutes. Then I had to
You
start
got
to
halfway done.
I had a test that
What
next week.
trailer for that George Clooney movie that's coming out this week?
Midnight Sky. I am excited for that. I am very
I
excited.
think that looks pretty sweet. Can we talk about that next week?
We will talk about that next week, not right now. But in the meantime, so Mank. I'm gonna give my quick thoughts on Mank right now. Y'all are going to be shocked. I did not like Mank. No one apparently was shocked. I love how Matt just picked up a book about Harrison Ford from Newsweek.
Okay, so I know I haven't completed it, but I was enjoying it for a good amount of it. I thought like what I watched, like Gary Oldman was just fun, and I just love how
Yes, he was.
Fincher shot things because when the way he,
No,
I
it is
hate
shot
that
beautifully.
yeah, and that was I love about David Fincher, but like I know you're gonna continue to say why didn't you like it? Because I was having a really good time watching it. I
Okay,
just
so
needed to
yeah.
know other stuff. So.
I did. I liked parts of it, but that was the thing. I kept finding myself pausing it and wanting to go back because I'm like, I just was not invested. The story that was transpiring was one that I was not invested in. I appreciated the world that was created, and I wanted to live in that world a little more. I cannot complain about the aesthetic. I cannot complain about the cinematography. I cannot complain about. Well, sometimes it was. Sometimes the cinematography was a little. I guess this is just my personal opinion over there. I think the cinematography sometimes was a little hazy, but I guess that was also the aesthetic they were going to. It could add a little more low lighting whatsoever. But for what they had, I think it was a beautiful cinematography, fantastic. The sound, it was a small thing that they did, but the sound felt echoey, and it was like those old films back in the day, and I really appreciated that. From an aesthetic standpoint and just an actual movie making practice, David Fincher knocks it out of the park, and everyone there should be commended. I think that. Go ahead.
Even the acting feels like that. Like that's on purpose. Like the acting. Yeah, they're acting like back in the 40s. 40s, yeah, no 40s.
And I did feel like that. This wasn't a movie where I felt like, they're just trying to evoke this all of the artist. This actually felt like it was a movie back in the day, and I appreciated that so much. The part, and again, the acting was phenomenal from all across the board. Charles Dance, Amanda Seyfried, and Gary Oldman were highlights of this for me. And then the dialogue I thought was really, really good too. It's where the actual structure, I just did not care. I don't know if they didn't let us really truly get into Mank's head or whatnot. I'm still not sure why it didn't grasp me. I need to think on that even harder. But there was something about it that really disconnected it for me. And maybe my expectations were way too high, which I think might have been the case because this is David Fincher and it's about Mankiewicz, I keep wanting to call him Mankiewicz, but it's Mankiewicz. And I keep wanting to, sing its praises, but my expectations were probably too high and it fell off the cliff because of how excited I was for Mank. But at the same time, it's just something I was not engaged with from beginning to end. I was engaged with sections and how the story was told, but I don't think I'll go back anytime soon to watch it. So I guess saying I didn't like it is strong words, when in fact I should probably say I enjoyed it in parts, but it's not something I'll go back to and watch. So I think it might have been a little too harsh, my initial rhetoric, so I'll bring that back a little bit. So that's my thoughts.
So I don't know if I will go back to watch Mank. I actually thoroughly enjoyed this. The way they did it, like the whole doing it with back in the time in Citizen Kane style. It's it's one of those ones that I've like, oh yeah, to do it this way, just not going to work. It somehow worked good for my pick. I mean, this is one that I went into it because I really don't care for Citizen Kane anyway. I'm not a big fan of that. But I went into the sort of and with that mindset, I enjoyed just watching how it came about and all that, and it was just a lot of fun. And I didn't expect to see Bull Nye in the movie not doing anything about science.
Yeah, that was kind of shocking.
I mean, he didn't do anything in that little part. He was just there.
In like the little few minutes he was in there, was it even a few minutes?
I don't know, but I mean, people have won supporting actors for less. So
yeah, he ain't gonna win anything. I can tell you that too. But it was cool to see.
Anthony Hopkins won like best lead actor, and he's in like 16 minutes.
True, but I don't even think Bill Nye is in 1 minute. So I would be curious.
Bill Nye?
Yes, the science guy.
What? Get that man an Oscar.
No, wait, the whole horses there, sir. But no, yes.
No, that's Bill Nye.
Nay?
You said
Manny, I want Manny and Malcolm, because I'm not that well versed like in 1930s, 40s cinema. Like I've seen I haven't seen a lot of movies. I wouldn't say I have watched more than 100 movies before 1970, something like that.
I'm with you,
like,
Abe. I'm very I watched some of the classics, but I'm not very well versed in that.
Yeah, but like, do you feel like you kind of missed stuff? Because when I was watching that movie, like I see where you're able to obtain those references. That I think they are.
I wasn't that really well versed in that era either. I really haven't seen a lot of the classic stuff. But I know there's but after listening to a few critics' reviews of it, like critically acclaimed and Daniel and all that, a lot of them have kind of said that the historical inaccuracies kind of threw them off a little bit. Because I think there's a scene in which they're talking about the Universal monster movies that, but some of them didn't come out till later, as opposed to when that time period was actually set.
Well, I feel like that personally, that's a little nitpicky when you're coming online in that personally. Because it's not, to me, a huge historical inaccuracy, because there's always going to be liberties that have been taken. As long as the heart, like the heart of it, which was that Herman J. Mankiewicz, wait, is that his brother? I get him mixed up a lot of the time. Joseph Mankiewicz. Okay, so it is Herman. Okay, Herman J. Mankiewicz.
Mankiewicz is
yes,
from
he's the older.
Yeah.
His younger brother is Joseph Mankiewicz, correct?
Because
he's the one that did the classic. Okay, now I'm just I did not know he had an older brother who did Citizen Kane until like a year ago, and then I realized this movie was actually coming out, so that's why I was very confused. And I was like,
okay, so Joseph is the one that did All About Eve, and he won an Oscar before that in 1949 for one movie that I cannot remember. But
Wings.
Okay,
no,
that's
Wings in 1933.
Letter to Three Wives is what it was. Oh yeah, he did Philadelphia Story.
He doubled for director.
But anyway, like
I've seen that movie.
I didn't feel like that there was like there were some things I didn't grasp upon because I'm not as familiar while I am familiar about the movies, not about the behind the scenes things that transpired during that time. And I could tell you, like, some of those, people, like the brothers, like as screenwriters, I knew them. They talked about, The Wizard of Oz at one point. They talked about some various other things here and there. Orson Welles even saying, hey, we're going to make a movie. Like the background of Citizen Kane I was aware of, and how it was written to a degree. And I think that at its center the historical accuracy needs to be there, and if they do little things here and there, it's fine by me. I don't think you need to know anything other than the fact that this was the screenwriter of Citizen Kane, and all you need to do is maybe a quick Wikipedia look, personally for me, because there are some things even I missed. I missed some things here and there when it came to name drops, which, by and large, I was unaware. Like, I was even unaware that, that someone who owned MGM became mayor of Los Angeles. I didn't even know something like that until I actually read it after I watched this. And I think this is, movies should not be taken as this has to be like, a full on biography. This needs to take liberties here and there. I
agree. Whenever you're dealing with and this is even from someone who hasn't seen this movie, just in general, whenever you're dealing with like historical films, like if you're doing a documentary, like as someone who took a documentary class in college, like you have to report it as it happened. You can't muddle with facts like if you're doing a documentary, unless of course you're doing a really shitty documentary. Like if I was to do a documentary on Orson Welles, I can't say Orson Welles because he wasn't born in South Florida. Like you can't do that. But if I'm doing a movie, maybe if I want to have a scene of him growing up in South Florida, if it makes sense, if you're saying that this is not 100% what happened, like I always use, it's the one I always talk about because I feel like it comes up. Braveheart's one of my favorite films of all time. Oh, he's loaded. The title itself is historically inaccurate because William Wallace didn't even have the name Braveheart. That was what's his face? The other character in the movie. But if you look at that movie and take that movie, in the movie it makes more sense to give William Wallace the name Braveheart. And all the, the Battle of the Bridge doesn't even have a bridge in it. But it doesn't really matter because that movie, at least for me, I know we can argue about that, emotionally, the story proves itself. And I always feel like historical films are sometimes like book adaptations. You keep the things that work and you sometimes fiddle with the things that you don't really need or that can make the story flow better. Like that's how I always look at historical fiction films.
To me, as long as it's not bordering on the line of propaganda, then I think you are in a safe place, because the last thing we need is propaganda of a historical figure, personally for me. But I think this had a nice balance between, making sure that there was a story that needed to be told, as well as keeping historical accuracies intact while fudging a little bit of the dates here and there, which I think fudging dates is a-okay in my mind when it comes to making films. Because in fact, making cinema is not something that needs to be done as a science. It is not a science, it is an art. And it doesn't need to be 100% exact. It needs what it needs to be the exact emotion you're looking for while remaining true to the characters you are attempting to portray and true to the events. So
if you don't question a painting, what they have, like, something like not a perfect square for, I don't know, a TV screen or a rectangle. Don't question a film if they have a different date than there is. The same thing. You're judging art. It's an expression, Andy.
And that's actually, it brings up a great point about that. Like, no one questions Bob Ross if he does like a tree and it looks different than a tree in real life. But like, if a filmmaker does something that's a little different, then it's like shame against how dare you depict that wrong. Like, come on.
At the end, you're trying to convey something, which sometimes you need to take liberties.
I think Malcolm has a point he would like to share.
Malcolm, please.
Well, I mean, I was about to say, like, I think painters can get away with it a lot more just because, like, they're not always expected to paint things like as they see them.
Well, Malcolm, I'll say this in response to that. A great filmmaker once said that a painter uses a canvas to tell the story how they see it. A filmmaker does it with a camera. You know who that filmmaker was? That was me in high school when I was trying to be. I said that in one of my film classes, and my professor.
Wow! I was like,
I said that. When we were talking about it, I said that line. It was like, "Do you know the line that a great filmmaker once said?" And I came up with that on the spot, and she was like, "Who said that?" I think at the time I said like, who did I say? I think I said it was like Orson Welles or something. And then because she was also in charge of our film club, I went up to her and that day and I was like, Fitz, I made that up. Orson Welles never said that.
But anyway, where I was going with that is,
Yes.
like, I don't have too much of an issue when it comes to historical accuracies, but as long as it's not too glaring. Like, if they want the movie to set in 2005 and they say that Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone only was just released, then that would throw me out because I know that movie was out in 2001.
The movie.
So
it's
that's the thing though. Like, as long as the historical accuracies don't throw me out too much, which they never did in Mank. I just sort of pointed out what sort of one of the big complaints that critics have, which is one of those things I don't always get.
And it might 100%.
Critics nitpick on that stuff too much, and it's come on.
I was about to add the fact saying that for some people, like who may be very knowledgeable at that time, it may completely throw them out, and that's completely okay. Like for instance, like if there's an inaccuracy in some level at some sort of literature that we know and understand, we're going to be shocked and be like, "Whoa, what is this?" So I completely get that. But anyway, we are going too far over the Mank discussion. Our thoughts on Mank generally is yes. I liked it well enough. Nothing I'll go back on. Malcolm liked it a lot, and Abe hasn't finished it yet, so his final review is not here for us, but he likes it so far and is enjoying it.
I was going to watch it right now before the show, but I was watching football.
What were you watching?
Football.
Football.
Like American football or soccer?
No, American football.
Okay, there you go.
I watched
I
hours
about the Jets earlier.
Oh, yeah, they won.
They did?
Sorry.
Oh my
yeah, they won. They finally won.
Wow.
So if you want some football talk,
my family members.
Yeah, we're gonna make a show.
This is not a football talk, though. Manning's no, not while he's in charge. You may kick me off right now if you want to talk about football, but I'm not talking about football. Anyway, all right. So
it's coming in 2021. Abe's hosting it.
Yes, there you go.
Football when there's no season.
But anyway. We have had recently this past week the Los Angeles Film Critics Association, or the Los Angeles Film Critics announced their winners for their awards, and the New York Film Critics recently announced theirs as well this past week. So we're going to start with one that came first, which is the New York Film Critics, and I'm going to go out and start saying them out loud. So for best. We'll start our way down and work our way back up. So what we have is special award to Spike Lee for inspiring the New York community with his short film New York, New York, and for advocating for a better society through cinema. Special award, Kino Lorber, for his creation of Kino Marquee, a virtual cinema distribution service that was designed to help support movie theaters, not destroy them. I was not aware about this, but I'm going to look this up afterwards. Best first film, The 40-Year-Old Version, which I've heard good things about.
Wait.
Yeah, that movie is great.
You mean the Steve Carell movie?
No, version.
No, it's a Netflix movie.
A 40-year-old
version.
Version, not virgin.
Yes, correct. Go watch that. It's on my list to watch. Best animated feature, Wolfwalkers, which I've also heard great things about.
Not Croods 2.
Not Croods 2. Best foreign film. Oh no, here we go. Manning mispronouncing foreign words. Bakura.
If it's Japanese, it has to be Bakura, right? Bakura.
Bakuraru, or it could be Bakuaru. It's Bakurau. Whatever that means. Why am I so bad at
Our Asian listener population just went down.
I think actually no, it is actually a Brazilian.
Oh, well, they're Brazilian.
It's a weird Western. Is a quote. A weird Western, whatever that means. It's a subgenre of the elements of another genre, usually horror, occult, fantasy, or science fiction. Holy cow, what is this? This looks amazing. Anyway, moving on. So that one.
Did they even have a Wild West in Brazil?
It is Wild West inspired in some capacity. But anyway, we have best nonfiction, which was Time. Best cinematography, Small Axe. Whatever that is.
A TV series on Amazon Prime.
That's what it says. It says Small Axe, and then all films has in parentheses, whatever that means. That's new. Now this is interesting. Best supporting actor Chadwick Boseman in Da 5 Bloods. Best supporting actress Maria Baklova. Borat subsequent movie film.
Oh my god, are you
Yes.
I'm excited about that.
Dude, she was great in that movie. That was incredible.
I don't think they saw a lot of films, but here we are. Best actor Delroy Lindo to 5 Bloods.
Boom!
Best actress Sydney Flanagan, Never Rarely, Sometimes Always. Best screenplay Never Rarely, Sometimes Always. Best director Chloe Zhao, Nomadland. And best film First Cow.
All right, someone did not see The Way Back because clearly Ben Affleck was best actor 2020.
I'm about to say, well, what films came out last year?
He's gonna do it, guys. He's gonna win that Oscar.
You keep believing that, sir. Okay, so the biggest thing I'm interested in is the fact of what are some of these? Like, didn't First Cow come out earlier this year, from what I heard?
It's an A24 movie. That's all I know, but
it's so.
Was it actually released, or was it one of those streamings?
Well, it was supposed to be theatrical, but it went on to streaming. So I think with the Oscar rules is if it was supposed to be theatrical, then it counts. If it did end up streaming.
Yeah, because there are a lot more leniency and all that, and when it comes to that. But no, it's going to be interesting to see how these films go about, just in general, how these critics awards, translate to the actual Oscars. Because I think there's going to be some big disconnect in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones out of the winners. I know after the 5 Bloods, Delroy Lindo has been one that's been touted for being up there for best actor. He was really great in it. Chadwick Boseman is also another one that's been up there. I mean, if Maria Bakalova from Borat subsequent movie film makes it into supporting actress, I'm going to be really excited about that. She was great in that.
No, she was insanely good in that. I hope she gets nominated.
The thing that I don't get is, I mean, why are they treating these small axe movies as just one long movie? This is the People versus O.J. Simpson all over again.
Well, I want to throw this out there. If you go to the LA Film Critics, if you guys have looked already, Best Picture went to Small Axe.
And what's
that? So you're saying this is an Amazon series?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if it's. Yeah, it's one of those ones. I'm not sure if it's officially a TV series or if it's a series of movies. But if it's a series of movies, then pick one. Don't do the comment thing going all movies.
Series of movies, then why would you nominate Small Axe? If it's supposed to be a mini series, but I mean, you look at I know the new one just came out, but Stephen King's The Stand in the 90s was 2 episodes, and they were both 3 hours. They're both movies essentially, but The Stand was only nominated for Emmys and didn't get nominated for Oscars because it wasn't a movie. This just seems weird, and I feel they're trying to play some 2020 card on us.
Now, which is interesting, I find, is that each of these are in and of themselves their own movie, which I find fascinating. They were all released, but they're all considered their own movie. So I'm curious of how they kind of finagle that around.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones that's kind of what I'm getting at there. It's because they're considered their own movie, they should only count as each movie separately. It looks like the critics just want to go. So we liked all of them. Let's just go. All movies.
All movies are nominated.
All of them. We all win.
All of them.
But yeah, because I can't remember how long ago, but there was that People versus O.J. Simpson controversy that that it was actually a documentary TV series, but it got nominated under Best Documentary at the Oscars. It's like, so I think this is this all over again.
And
If
look, does that mean The Last Dance could get nominated for an Oscar?
I highly doubt with that quality. Highly. But anyway, the runner-up was Nomadland, as I mentioned, as I praised prior. Best director was also Chloe Zhao, Nomadland, which I'm incredibly excited about. Runner-up was Steve McQueen for Small Axe. Best actor, Chadwick Boseman, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I have not finished yet, but from what I have seen, I am very, very happy with what I have seen with Chadwick Boseman so far. For someone who has finished it, Malcolm, what are your thoughts about Chadwick Boseman?
I mean, I thought it was I thought it was fine. I wasn't getting into that movie a lot. To me it just seems so slow. All that, but I do like Chadwick in it. I think he is great. So
you say it's slow, and I checked the runtime. Isn't it just like 94 minutes, something like that?
Well, that's the thing though. That is the runtime, but it feels like it is a lot longer than that though. That's what I was meaning by
because I read some reviews, and many of the consensus was like the performances are great, but the movie not that. Like something.
I like it so far. I'm not blown away, but I do agree that I've been very, very impressed so far with the performances. I'm not shocked.
What is this?
Wait, what was that?
What movie is this one?
It's called Ma Rainey's Black Bottom on Netflix.
Oh,
interesting name, I know, but it'll make sense if you watch it.
Yeah.
I get so much I gotta watch. I gotta at some point watch.
If you watch it, watch it with Chadwick Boseman.
But yeah. This could be this could be another year in which we get an actor nominated in both supporting and actor, because if Chadwick gets in for supporting for The Five Bloods and then best actor for this, it could make things really interesting.
You know what grabs I think my head is like they didn't give anything to Mank, and if you will think who gave awards to Mank, it will be the critics, because they are the world guys.
Like movies about making movies, that's usually a thing.
Well, Mank did get something in the critics. Best production design.
Got Razzies.
Yeah, well deserved. But like the acting or the screenplay or whatever, you will think they will start getting steam, because as we said, this is a long damn race. This is like if we were just back in August. So yeah,
it's gonna be a long race. But I will say the other stuff we have for best actor, Chadwick Boseman. Runner-up was Riz Ahmed, Sound of Metal, which is something else that I need to see. But I'm praise. Best actress, Carey Mulligan, Promising Young Woman.
I want to watch the movie so bad.
I do as well. It looks very good. Runner-up, Viola Davis, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Best supporting actor, Glenn Turman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Okay, I'm very. Someone who's only seen half of it so far. What's your opinion on Glenn Turman, Malcolm?
I'm not gonna lie. I have no idea which one that is. I mean, he's not a name I'd recognize. Like if you show me a picture of.
He's the pianist.
Oh yeah. He was good. Like here's a good performance.
Interesting. I haven't blown away yet.
Pianist performance. Then what's his name from Dick Tracy? 88 Keys. Played Inigo Montoya. What's this guy's name?
Mandy Patinkin?
Yeah, Mandy Patinkin. Better pianist performance than him and Dick Tracy.
I've never seen Dick Tracy, so I cannot comment.
What?
I've never seen Dick Tracy either.
Oh my god! What am I?
I will not
comment. If your friend is asking, what did he say?
He will not comment.
Watch Dick Tracy. Al Pacino got nominated for Best Supporting Actor for that movie. Okay, as Big Boy.
Did he?
Yeah, he got nominated. the year that Joe Pesci won for Goodfellas, he got nominated for Dick Tracy as Big Boy Caprice. Have I convinced you? There, it has Oscar nominations. Go watch it.
I convinced you.
I also think it won for makeup in that year, I think. I don't know.
Wow, I did not know about this. Anyway, so yeah, that is
that's a random movie recommendation.
Random movie of the day. Dick Tracy. So we're all gonna have to see it now. It is now law. But also runner-up Paul Raci, Sound of Metal. Best Supporting Actress Yoo Jung Yeon. Woo Jung Yeon. Min. Okay, so for those who don't know, Minarai. It is Minarai.
I think so. I don't know.
Okay. Minarai. All right, I'm going to go with it. Minarai, final answer. Runner-up, Amanda Seyfried, Mank. So she could, at the end of the day, walk away with her first Oscar nomination. I'd be very happy for her.
She's going to be being the winner. I think so.
You think so?
And I'm going to, because I'm going to say, who's in the race?
She's going to be Gal Gadot or Wonder Woman? I just assumed she was nominated.
It's going to be Olivia Colman, right? And,
for the father?
For the father, yeah.
I would be very shocked considering she's won one already.
Yeah, she won't win that. That's my point. Who else? Who is going to be nominated?
I mean, it's going to be interesting because once again we're going to have another foreign actress in the race with I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. From Midway.
Yeah, but we know how hard it is for foreign language actors to be even nominated for those awards. Yeah, I know it's a different race right now and everything. But it's when Marina del I don't know, from Roma, the supporting actress and Yalitza were nominated. It was two of them got nominated. Every time we try to for Parasite, they try to campaign for a specific actor for what's the name of the woman from the Farewell? The grandmother?
Yes.
Yeah, they try to campaign for her. It's incredibly hard for them to nominate the actors. And it's sad because there's some great performance out there. But unless you have the money of a big company like a Netflix or whatever big studio, it's extremely hard, and
that's the problem with the Oscars now. Is it's all about campaigning.
Well, I mean,
and it's been that since 1990, something like that. Since
really, Harvey Weinstein. Weinstein was really the first one.
Yeah,
really started campaigning, and it paid off for him in the 90s so many times.
I mean, where I was going with it is with these new rules that the Oscars are putting into place, it's going to help a lot of these foreign actors/actresses maybe get more recognition in the Oscars' eyes now than what they might have done in the past.
Oh yeah, we saw that change last year with Parasite winning. Well, at least they won this year. We saw it. Change is working, but how much time is it gonna take to break the next one? That when they start winning, and it's Roberto Benigni and who else before him, or Marin Cotillard for
L'Avion Rose.
Yeah, and I cannot recall any other close to that.
For
a foreign language film.
I'm trying to think of if you want to count. Well, if we're talking about foreign performances or just foreign, actors.
No,
of
performances.
Performances. I'd say because we could have gone Jean Dujardin for the artist, but other than that, I can't remember.
It's an American film.
You're right.
It's an American film. And Parasite was neon, and they accomplished it. But I think Parasite is way more crowd pleasing than Roma was. Roma is a little bit heavy. As a watcher, and Parasite was just boom, boom. They hit you with everything, and it works perfectly. Except the finale, because that's my only problem with the film. But it's just that, and you see those buyers breaking out, and eventually, I don't know, in 50, 60 years, it's gonna be normal to watch films. I don't know, from Egypt or whatever, break out in those performances. But like for saying like, oh, she's gonna win Best Actress, I find it hard to say, and not because she doesn't deserve it, but because of the state of the Oscars right now and the industry as a whole.
Interestingly enough, what I find fascinating is that if you go down to best editing for the LA Film Critics, best editing went to The Father, which was edited apparently by Yorgos Lanthimos. Where do we know him from, guys?
The
From
favorite.
The Lobster.
Both of them. Both correct.
Yeah.
that-
The Lobster, the favorite. Yeah.
There's one with
Was it him? Is it him? Are you 100% sure?
I don't know.
saw
But
a tweet and I said, because I saw a tweet about them winning, but I was like,
I've seen The
is that
Lobster.
same Yorgos?
I've not seen the favorite.
But you know what
Is
we're
that
talking
how
about,
you
right?
spell?
Sure.
Oh well, Matt. It must say homework. Okay, Yorgos Lamprinos. It could be someone completely different with a really very similar name, but I saw that immediately and I was like, hold up now.
Man, you're wrong. Yorgos has only edited a film once, and that's in 1995.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so apparently they are literally the exact same, save for one letter instead of a
Yorgos Lanthimos and Yorgos.
G. Oh, sorry, instead of a TH, it is a P. It's Lamprimos instead of Lanthimos. So they're both Yorgos. Confused pieces of the wind.
I don't know what's happening, but I love it.
But yeah, I mean, the one I found very interesting was the animated feature race, where like Wolfwalkers won that, but Soul was the runner-up, which could be the interesting things when it comes to the Oscars, the animated race, because there really wasn't a lot of animated movies this year.
There's been a good amount of animated movies, but I have to tell you something. They're all bad to mediocre at best, because I watched The Croods and I like it, but because it has nice music and nice visuals, like as a kid I would loved it, but like quality, like there hasn't been any animated film that I watched this year that I can recall. Like, oh, this SpongeBob movie wasn't that good. Scoop wasn't that good. Cross World Tour wasn't that good. Like,
yeah, it's Slim Pickens for animated films for the Oscars this year. I feel like, or any award show this year, it's going to be really Slim Pickens.
Although
just waiting for 2022 for Boss Baby 2 to be nominated.
Oh, well, obviously.
No. I mean, you don't got that conversation.
Maybe
if you complain about if you complain about my love of Shrek 2 and Mamma Mia, here we go again. If we start talking about the Boss Baby and the levels of depth that movie has, we're gonna get in a whole conversation, because this show has gone way longer than we thought we will.
Yes,
so we can continue.
We need to do a whole Gone with the Wind.
I'm Boss Baby.
Just Boss Baby.
Never. Okay, so.
Of it.
All right, so we're gonna start wrapping this up, guys. We're gonna cut the fact of the Oscars. Just to let everyone know, the Oscars will be held in person. How that will be the case, we don't know, because it will be in April. Now, right now, an update for a Variety article that was announced on December 1st, I believe. It is, sources say the Motion Picture Academy is currently exploring how an in-person ceremony could work next spring, given the state of the COVID-19 pandemic. So they want to do it, but they're currently trying to figure out how that can be possible, because they do not want it to be just a single virtual event.
They haven't announced a host yet, right?
What was that?
They usually don't announce a host this early anyway for the Oscars.
I mean, they went hostless the last 2 years, so.
No, they haven't.
Yeah.
I think they should just continue.
Like me personally, I think what they might do is just have the nominees in theatre, and maybe any family they might want to invite, and have them sort of spaced out apart around the audience, whether or not that works.
I mean, we're 4 months away, and according to whatever the government is saying right now, like, There's gonna be vaccines and everything, but then there's gonna be the 100-day mandatory by President-elect Biden, according to what he says. And if my math is not incorrect, by April it's haven't been 100 days after January, because March and it's 58, so that will be until May. So
Well, yeah, January, February. Well, January, February, and March would be a little over 90 days, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know which one.
Yeah, but it's last week of January.
Yes, but regardless, I
around that.
see them actually doing an in-person event when it comes to how they used to do it. Either way, they're going to scale it down.
Oh, no way.
You're gonna have your nominee and then your guest, and they're not gonna have probably any like little people, like little bits and pieces.
John
here and
Stamos
there, like,
will not weirdly be there.
he will not weirdly.
Yeah, I mean,
with someone?
I mean, what they could do is like what they did with the Ellen show. Like I know in the Ellen show they've had a mixture of people there, live and via
Virtually,
so that may be like you'll have like your nominee and a guest there. Then you'll have a couple of screens where it shows
most talk shows.
maybe
Graham Norton does the same thing.
maybe Martin Freeman and James McAvoy as two random people on a screen. Just sort of make the for aesthetic, especially when it comes to camera wise, like so it looks like there's no empty seats.
Like these are all people with money, and they're probably gonna get vaccinated as soon as they.
Well, I mean, Lloyd, you've seen the people who are already getting vaccinated first, and would be shocked if Hollywood elites are.
Yeah.
I will say that said, if they are going to get vaccinated first, those people who are older, you have to think about all those people who are below the lines, who are not the actors and the directors. What are we going to do about those people who are nominated, those people who will not be able to get to the front of the line, those people who are, the cinematographers, those people who are the the editors, designers.
Like,
they're not probably going to be in the front of the line unless they are, of course, they are like in the because I know the next round of batch is going to be those who are 75 and up. So Roger Deakins might get his, but like, I don't see.
The rollout is thing so weird. I don't know, because the other thing you got to think, and Malcolm brought this up, like presenters, like who's going to be presenting the awards? If you're trying to slim it down, like I don't know. Again, we'll see how things are in April, but from now, it just seems like a bad decision ultimately.
Well, I mean, like even with the presenters, like maybe have them backstage or separate an area, just so that they're because I think the main thing is even if with the vaccinations getting rolled out and whether or not Hollywood elite are going to be at the top of the line or not, they'll probably still take the precautions for that year, because a lot of the time, especially this early on, I think one of the concerns are how effective it will be. That I don't think they're not going to take any risks until they know for sure that the vaccination has worked. So they're still probably going to take some kind of precautions just on the off chance that the vaccination doesn't hold as long as they'd like.
Yes.
I'm going full biology thing, but the thing with the flu is that it's a virus that evolves every year, and they predicted at the beginning of the year every time, like they try to get the cold for it, like, oh, this is gonna happen because they take from the animal, the bird flu. That's why it's called like that. They try to predict that and they change it. And the thing is, if you kill the virus in a way like everybody getting vaccinated, which is gonna be like impossible, it's less possible to be mutated. That's why you see mutations like in it's more common to see mutations in species that reproduce faster than we are, because one generation of us is 25 days. A generation for a fly is gonna be 27. That's why 27. It's gonna be a week. That's why when you see flies, when you put insecticide, that's why they become immune to it, because they can generate those mutations faster than we do. And any species, like anything that has DNA or RNA, which is genetic code, if you stop that thing to growing, it's gonna be less effective. That's why bacteria, you become immune to antibiotics. Why? Because bacteria are able to mutate faster than we as humans are. So that's why I studied biology.
Hey, thank you.
Welcome to another new show, Biology Talk, with host Abe.
Hey,
Who's the only one who really should be talking about this stuff? Because I don't know about you, Malcolm or Manning, but the communications major here should be the last one to talk about science shit, unless
I
it's
mean-
like movie science.
all I can do is reiterate what I have been told by other scientists. I cannot, in fact, tell people unless I've heard from scientists themselves. So that's all I can offer, ladies and gentlemen.
Look,
But anyway,
I'm not even
back.
half a scientist right now, but like I can tell you a species of insect based on how they look. So
That's
But anyway, back to the Oscars.
Yes, back to the
back here.
moving on. All right, so Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise this year also has been feeling the pressure of this year finally, and I think he has been a kettle that has been boiling over until finally he popped. And this kind of happened this past week, when he was on the set of Mission Impossible 7, and 2 crew members were not properly social distancing. Were they wearing masks? I'm not sure. I didn't read that. But regardless, something finally snapped in Tom Cruise, and he let those crew members have it. Again, we don't know who recorded it. We don't know who were the people he was yelling at. But somehow, for all those, I'm sure all of us have heard the rant that he went on this past week. Now, there's been a debate going on if, of course, some of these people deserved what he said, or if, if he might have gone a little overboard. When you look into that, we are, of course, in a year where we have to deal with COVID-19. We have to change the way that films are being made to even being made films, because things are obviously right now very tensious, or the tension is very high. It's very contentious, excuse me. But the tension is high. And one misstep of someone getting COVID, you could shut the entire movie down. And I know that people don't want that, because I know that Tom Cruise himself, I think he bought a boat out somewhere in Europe for these people to stay in Italy, so they wouldn't have to go to separate hotels, so they could keep themselves in a type of quarantine bubble almost. He is putting his money and time into this, and I think after seeing this, and maybe it wasn't the first time, he finally snapped and kind of said that what we are doing, quotes range from the fact of people are counting on us to people are losing their jobs if we don't do this. We're here because of them. And the debate goes around as, was this too far, or was this just right? For me personally, I have my thoughts that I've been mulling over with my loved ones this past week, my girlfriend and sister and people I've talked with. I want to hear what you guys' thoughts are on Tom Cruise's justified or overboard response to his crew members not taking COVID-19 precautions seriously. We'll start Matt. We'll say last, since you are the biggest Tom Cruise fan here. So Malcolm, you about to speak?
Well, yeah, when I heard this one, I was a little bit taken aback, because I thought Tom Cruise was a cruisy person to know. But with that being said, I don't think it was too overboard. I think everyone's really making it too big of a deal, honestly. I think it's more the pressure, because so many places have had to close down for long periods of time, and even production, film sets were closed down for a period of time, and then when they started sort of opening up the precautions, I think it's partly pressure, but I think it's partly because Tom Cruise doesn't want to see the movie delayed any more than longer than it should have, and just wants to get it done. And because I know it's probably a frustration a lot of people really have in general, with people going out maskless, not caring about wearing masks and the precautions stuff, and so I think it was justified. And yeah, there's not really much more I really have to say about it.
Abe, what are your thoughts on it when you heard this? Was this something you're like, how could he? This Tom Cruise guy. It's just like Christian Bale.
I have this thing about myself that I use a lot of curse words, and I've been noticed it lately in my language. They become normal for me. So when I hear somebody cursing somebody, it's like meaningless. Like for me, I can tell you motherfucker in minutes, but I can understand how people say it.
Well,
How
I will say, oh, go. Sorry, you about to say however. Go ahead.
but yeah. Is it justified? Sure, he has his reasons because I think if we could, well, every time we saw somebody with a mask, uh, without a mask, sorry, we will try to yell the exact same thing because it's so tiring. Like because you're doing a party or a gathering without, I know we all frustrated with this of like we cannot go out like to in a restaurant and everything, and as someone that comes like as Tom Cruise that he loves the movie industry so much, like if you see interviews with him, like he says, I watch a movie every night and everything. Like he truly loves what he does. Sure, he's a Scientologist, but that's another thing. And sure, I think we all have to be yelled at sometimes for us to understand. Like I don't know if the article says if like that has happened. Like when you're being, if you're a parent, like I have many nieces and nephews, and I sometimes see my sister or my cousin saying, "Be quiet," to their kid. Be quiet. By the fourth, third time, it's you're gonna raise his voice. But that's the relationship between a parent and a kid, and I think it's different. And I think it's where a good argument comes out. You're in a professional environment, and not because you're above somebody, you have to yell at somebody. Is it justified? Do I get the reasoning behind it? Yes. Do I think was he wrong? Probably. Like you shouldn't yell at anybody in a professional environment like that
Mhm.
because you're both adults and you can talk about it. But frustration is hard, and especially when you have so much money in the line. And Tom Cruise said it, like there's people that are gonna lose their jobs. There's people that are gonna do that. There's people that are gonna get that, and I think it's where you understand it. Because sometimes we say, "Oh, he did that thing bad." Anybody, like he
Mm.
punched that, but you don't get like, oh, like the what the other person feels. When we watch videos of anybody punching somebody, and then you hear the story behind anything, they're like, well, you kind of got him. You kind of deserve it. Do they deserve to be yelled at? No, but you understand the reasoning. So it's like, sure, both sides have an argument and everything. I think both of them are right, but I don't think one makes one over the other. I think he has a point. I think when I first heard it for the first time, I was like, yeah, like if we could have somebody in power, hashtag president, you suck right now, that could be half of that, like we could be better as well. The United States, I'm in Mexico right now because life, but I care, like I care about the politics because guess what? Where I pay my taxes in the United States, not in Mexico.
Into that.
Yeah, so it's like sure we need that, but like it's that power struggle. How can you that earn $50 million per movie can be yelling at somebody that earns 15 an hour? So it's that hard thing of who's. I don't think this right or wrong, but I think it's understanding from both sides of the argument. And 5 people quit over that. So and I don't know. I'm not more in Hollywood gossip, but I've never heard something about Tom Cruise doing anything bad on a set. Like when people talk about Tom Cruise, like he's just one of many, and I don't think that makes Tom Cruise a villain. And I don't
Yeah.
make the other people villains because we all make mistakes and we have justifications. But the frustration is understood for me, and I just see it like he had a breaking point, and we all have it. Like sometimes we all have it. We yell at people because we just had a bad day, and he was having a bad day. That's my thing.
No, and I think it's very astute and very wise observation, the fact of it was in a professional setting. And before I let Matt speak upon this, I just wanted to add my 2 cents in there, and that when I first heard it, it felt very cathartic in a way. It felt very cathartic because like this is stuff you want to say. The content is what stuff you want to say to people who are just aren't getting it who are starting getting the fact that you just wear a mask and social distance, we could have not been in the place that we are today. Do you want to see this movie shut down? Do you want to lose your job? Do you want me to lose my job? Do you want to lose everyone, to lose their homes and everything? No, you don't. And you don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. No one here wants to see that. And if we can't take this seriously, there will be consequences. This sounds like a man who has been saying this for some time, ever since they have originally started filming, and they were first shut down this past year. And I think this was him reaching a breaking point, saying, like, guys, what aren't you getting? Because I feel like Tom Cruise, knowing, is the type of person to take this very seriously. He's a very intense person, he seems like, and this is something he probably takes very, very, very seriously, up to like notch 110 or whatnot. And I think this was a point that, as you said, Abe, this was his breaking point, and we all have it. And I don't fault him whatsoever. I understand completely. And I think sometimes you'll have to get in the face of some people who aren't listening, and just to be like, hey, listen to me. Listen, not because I hate you, but because I want this to succeed. You're doing something stupid. And I think that's an important thing that needs to happen. But that said, this is a very professional environment, and you are in a position of power above these employees. You have so much more to them. And while these people are doing something very stupid, you know, you do not need to abuse that power. You do not need to abuse that power by yelling at these people in a way that, where, of course, they might totally understand now. They may never do this again. But now, after reading some articles and whatnot, some people apparently quit after he had another tirade after the audio was leaked. Which is very unlike Tom Cruise, because as Abe said, we don't hear him yelling at crew members. He's not a Christian Bale person where he's like, "Bah, how dare you try to do something like that? Bah."
You my lights down in the middle of the scene. We're dumb.
He's not that. Tom Cruise is yelling at him from a place of like, people are going to lose their jobs because of this. It didn't come from a place that felt selfish, but you are in a position of power, and I would like it if you came from a place of like, hey, don't do this. And it's a very dubious thing, I know, because sometimes they may not get it if you don't do that. But if like your boss started yelling at you like that, and you're in the middle of work, it is a power dynamic that becomes dubious at best. And the professional environment, it shouldn't be like that. But we're in a time right now that is that's, you know, it's nebulous, and it's very difficult, and we're all at a boiling point. There's a great article in Variety, like I think it's Variety, where we're starting to no, excuse me, I think it's Atlantic, where they're talking about what this means for Hollywood, and people are reaching a boiling point. People are so nervous on the street. They have a amount of anxiety that is even more anxious, because they can't make a misstep, because if they get COVID, it's over. It is over for that movie for X amount of time, and that is more money going down because someone got COVID and was careless. And I understand why he's upset. It would make me upset too. And I think I'm not going to fault him for doing that because of the extenuating circumstances, and you have to think about that. Now, we can fault him for Scientology, but that's another topic in and of itself. Oh, Tom, you and your Scientology. But yeah, no, in this statement, in this way, it feels like he is a frustrated man taking this seriously when he sees other people not. And should he have yelled at them like that? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe he could have taken it down from like a 21 to like a 10. But regardless, I think the content, what he said, was good. Now, Matt, the floor is yours. What is your thought?
Yeah, so first off, Manning has mentioned I'm a big Tom Cruise fan. Absolutely none of what I'm about to say comes, except for talking about, I guess, Tom Cruise behind the scenes, like in other films, comes from me being a fan of his. If we were talking about this being Denzel Washington, or I'm just around Ben Affleck or Matt Damon or someone, I'd probably be saying the exact same thing. I think that the content of what he said was 100% on point. We have seen so many movies get shut down because people are being careless, and he has invested so much time and money trying to ensure that this production can continue to happen and people can continue to be employed. And I 100% believe that he is up every night talking to the producers and the investors, letting them, making sure that this movie can keep going, and just seeing people not social distancing and wearing their masks and everything like that's going to break someone. And, I just, because all this sort of broke out on Twitter and everything, and people talk about, how much Tom Cruise makes and all this, but my whole thing with that is just like, at what point, at what paycheck are you not allowed to have very human emotions and make mistakes like we all do? Like, get to a breaking point and do something that maybe under other circumstances you would not do. And I think that's what happened here. I think Tom got to a breaking point and did something that, if you know anything about his past, he does not do this normally. He's not one of those guys who normally screams at people and everything. I think he just got to a breaking point. I think, again, I haven't read anything about if anyone has interviewed Tom following up on this, but I'm sure he isn't happy that he did that. In the same way that, like, if a teacher screams at a kid for doing something bad, is the teacher always happy that they did that? No, maybe sometimes. I think the problem with all this, and I think Twitter was the big place where I saw this happening, was I think it really, this whole thing got away from the Tom Cruise just broke for a very good reason, and he was susceptible to very human things of stress and anger for something that we all are. I think the problem was that, at least on Twitter, at least in the sphere that we're all kind of in, I felt like there was a clear line between you were either like hero worshipping Tom Cruise for this, or you were vilifying him. And I think the problem with that is like Abe said, not every one of those is right. Saying that we have to play this in Walmarts around the world and everything, that's not right. Nor is it saying that Tom Cruise is a piece of shit for doing this either. I think that this exists in a very gray area to where the content of what he's saying is so on point. How he went about expressing that was probably not the best way. And I'm sure if you ask him, it probably would not be his first choice either. But it doesn't matter what his net worth is, he's a human. And we all are prone to this stuff. I know in my life, there have been times when I've screamed at my brother or my sister or my parents when I was really stressed. And I've come home, my job is not very fun. And there are days when I come home after a really bad day and it takes just a little thing to have me crack. Is that good that I scream at my family? No. Is it good that Tom Cruise screamed at these people? No. What is good is that what he expressed is so on point and so true. Because he has invested his own time and money to really ensure that this movie can happen, that all these people can be employed at a time when there are people who are not in the film industry who would love to be working on that movie. Because there are people right now in our country who can't pay their rent and are losing their homes. So ultimately, I think the content of what he said was so on point. How he went about it was maybe not the greatest thing, but I'll end with, funnily enough, a quote from Christian Bale from Batman Begins, which is, "People need dramatic examples to shake them out of apathy." That is what I'll say about that.
I thought you were gonna say from Christian Bale from the set of Terminator Salvation.
No.
I'd love to hear how you would use that in a sentence.
Some people would just like to watch the movie.
I guess when those people quit, Tom said, "You and me are done professionally for this set."
Okay, there you go. I mean,
working in there.
You and me are done professionally from the set.
Look, you're a nice guy. You're a nice guy. Chumley, you're fucking done professionally. I never had DP act like this before. No, let's not wait 5 minutes. Let's go again. Why is Bruce walking behind Bryce in the scene?
What a man. What a.
Listen to that rant too. I lost it. It was on my own computer, but I once edited together a bunch of clips of Christian Bale because at the time there was only Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, but all scenes, but it's that dialogue going through that. So it's like Bruce Wayne screaming at Alfred and saying all those lines.
Wow.
I think you need to do something like that for a Tom Cruise movie now.
Now we need to do that. People are counting on us.
Yeah, just even
tomorrow or something.
Counting on us. Oh, maybe
That'd
I
be
will.
great.
I don't know.
But anyway, this has gone on way too long, as we all know. Who knows? I might break this into 2 separate episodes. I may not. I don't know. We'll see, because I will have to edit this when we will find out by then. But anyway, I want to thank my panelists for being here. So where can they find you, Matt?
Oh wow, I'm not used to going first on these things. You guys, as always, can find me at Kearns_Matthew on Twitter, MattMovie611 on YouTube, Patreon /Kearns_Matthew. If you like my content and you want to pay me for it, please. I also host 2 shows on this network. The first one is Second Look. Episode dropped last week on Die Hard 2. Please go check that out, share it around. And my new show, Fandom Podcast. First episode went out last month, and hopefully the next episode will be coming out after the new year, and it will be on Indiana Jones. Thank you for having me, man. I always enjoy guesting on this show.
Well, thank you, Matt, for being here. And so for the regular panelist, Malcolm Close, where can they find you?
You can find me on Tape Productions hosting Rant Late Night at Tape 3. Both of them will be back in the new year. Rankings coming will be with top 12 movies of 2020. You can find me over on Formula Host, Formula Classic, and Formula Random. And I may have a couple of new shows in the works for Take 3 that I'm planning on doing next year. Haven't quite finalized the names because they don't have names yet. So yeah,
that is A-okay. And then Abe, sir, where can the good people find you? And you are eating a lollipop right now.
This episode of Gone with the Wind was sponsored by.
Oh, really?
Fancy MGS.com for all your movie trivia schmodown fantasy needs.
Chili covered lollipop. I don't know. Just kidding. I was hungry and I wanted something to calm my.
Oh, the good lollipop.
Hunger. You can follow me Twitter at you can follow me on Letterboxd at AbrahamFlores25, and you cannot add me on Facebook because I don't care about you. You should get up on my feet.
As always, sir. All right, everyone, that is Gone with the Wind. So wear your mask, social distance, wash your hands, stay at home if you have to. And I thank you all for listening to this podcast. So, thank you.
We're counting on you.
People are counting on you.